Greeting, my name is Soph the Neko. About 4 months ago, I released a video calling out CineBear03 for grooming one of my best friends. A larger commentary YouTuber, Just a Robot, released a video where he biasly defended CineBear03, this child groomer, which obviously wasn't received well because he was defending a child groomer. So he took down the video and then made a response video sulking, basically. And it enraged me to the point where I felt like I needed to make this video. So, enjoy, I guess.
Hey everyone, it's been a while. In fact, it's been a couple of months. These last few months have been very chaotic to say the least, and I know a lot of you have many questions. You're curious about my side of the story. Don't worry, I brought receipts. I know most people won't care for what I have to say. The tea has gone cold and they've moved on to talking about people like Mudahar and Nuxtaku. But at least you're here watching this unmonetized video of mine, so you don't have to even worry about giving me money by viewing this video.
Here's where we run into one of my first problems with this video personally. He heavily fixates on semantics and statistics of other commentary cases. He tends to lump and clump online controversies together and compare them to each other because of his fixation with looking into these kinds of things, when he doesn't actually realize that this situation with the CineBear03 shenanigans is not the same as online drama, nor should it be compared to other controversies on the internet. He needs to look at it objectively and identify the circumstances of the CineBear03 situation without clumping other online controversies into his sentence. For this was a case of literal predation of children. This was a case of child grooming and sexual exploitation. Therefore, him heavily fixating on other instances of drama that in some cases literally don't have anything to do with the CineBear03 situation. The people involved literally don't link to each other whatsoever. Therefore, his points are incredibly weak when he's including random other dramas that he's ran into over the internet and researched, because it is literally not linked to the CineBear03 situation at all, and it just makes it look like he has a fixation on online drama and is just linking and clumping any online call out to each other, not realizing that this problem with Cine is so profound and problematic and abusive that it shouldn't be categorized as online drama. It just feels like he doesn't view these people as people. He views this as like a soap opera or some shit. He's still fixating on the semantics of people reacting to online drama and people's opinions on online drama and using it as like an explanation as to why he did the things he did. And the problem that I have with him heavily trying to explain where he was coming from is that he's not self-aware at all over how ridiculous it sounds. He isn't addressing how absurd it is that he's so fixated on bringing up other online controversies. He's not self-aware of what a babbling buffoon he comes across as with how fixated he is on other dramas and comparing dramas to each other and online semantics. He doesn't realize how irrelevant to the point it is, and he doesn't realize that his fixation on online semantics and his fixation on people's opinions and other dramas and comparing them to each other is why he fucked up so heavily in the first place on his take on CineBear03. He just doesn't seem to understand what the problem is with him bringing up all of these dramas. He shouldn't be comparing these things because it's not related to the objective fact that Cine is a grown adult who isn't born to a child, and him randomly trying to explain himself by bringing up his thought process with all of these irrelevant other situations that he's trying to compare to the Cine situation. Like, it just feels like he's not self-aware over why he made these poor choices in the first place. He made these poor choices because the way he views these situations is incredibly flawed. In this response video, he is trying to provide an explanation as to his thought process throughout the whole thing, and while explaining his thought process, he doesn't acknowledge how flawed it is that he was making these comparisons in the first place. The fact that these flawed comparisons and fixation with online drama were ever a correlation in his brain that resulted in being one of the factors that contributed to the conclusion he drew in the first place, like, that is the main issue. If he were to make a video explaining his thought process and then explain that he understands that it's flawed that he's so fixated on drama and semantics to begin with, like, if he displayed some sort of self-awareness, then I might feel a little bit more at ease while watching this video, but it's the lack of self-awareness that is getting me and makes me feel like he might not be responsible enough to have this big of a platform if he's going to be talking about online drama, especially grooming allegations, because if he's this clueless while having this much influence, his irresponsibility possibly might result in him spreading potentially dangerous narratives with the size of platform that he does have.
Or maybe you're just viewing this through someone else's live stream who's looking to farm a few more clicks off of me.
Hi, sorry for interjecting again, but this video is incredibly flawed, so get used to it. I'm gonna have to debunk almost everything he says. Let's be real and not deny the fact that there are a lot of content creators who don't have any care or emotional intelligence for their very own craft. It is true, a lot of people just want to get views when covering these kinds of situations. But him including this fact in this video is a little bit inappropriate because he actually has done something incredibly wrong. So him yapping about just online vultures that'll exist inevitably no matter what comes off a little bit manipulative. As much as I totally understand and sympathize and relate to the frustration of having people just want to squish your udders to milk as much as they possibly can off of you in your online presence, this will always happen. It was a thing before the internet. Shitty journalists who make terrible takes in the newspaper. Like, it is unfortunately a reality that comes with the package of being a YouTuber. So him bringing it up when he made an actual really shitty mistake just comes across like sulking to me, and it's unnecessary and an immature way of handling the topic he is covering and trying to apologize for. How he is feeling in this situation is incredibly valid. However, he is being too emotionally vulnerable with his platform and bringing up things that'll happen regardless of whether he was right or wrong. People farm content. It happens. It's annoying. All you can do is do better than the commentary channels who don't care for the craft they're covering. If Jar had made a shitty video covering a drama, then that would be one thing, but he was covering literal child predation and sexual abuse, which is why it frustrates me that he's making this video all about himself.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. I fucked up. I really dropped the ball in this situation. I can't even say that I was manipulated or enabled to get involved with the cine drama, because both my roommate and my girlfriend and even my neighbor told me that what I was doing was stupid and reckless.
Yeah, at least Jar is somewhat aware of just how poorly he handled the situation. However, he is still bringing up personal experiences, like what his girlfriend told him, what his roommate told him, and all of this crap in a video that is supposed to be properly addressing the fact that you spread a narrative on your giant platform that is in favor of a child groomer. And I hate the fact that you described your shitty choices as stupid and reckless. Like, it's more than that. It's damaging.
Even I knew that defending someone from the Art CC with allegations this serious would more than likely go bad for me.
Okay, first things first, I have defended numerous different people from the Art CC and the animation meme community with equally as serious allegations. I guess, as Jar would say it, I came up on top. But it was because I was paying attention to what I was covering. I'm just talking about my own experiences because of how familiar I am with the Art CC. If you were defending an innocent person from the Art CC of serious allegations, then yeah, maybe it would have went better. But the reason why it went so awful is because the person wasn't innocent and you weren't paying attention to what you were covering. So this is ridiculous. What are you even yapping about? And second of all, I'm just being blunt and saying that from my perspective and the viewer's perspective, none of us are going to give a fuck that you thought it might be a bad idea. I still find it somewhat irritating that he's so fixated on where the allegations are coming from, like which community the allegations are coming from. Yeah, I sort of get it. The Art CC has a lot of people who are incredibly hypersensitive. Their priorities aren't entirely straight. A lot of instances of nothing burgers tend to get spread around in this community and treated as if it's an actual serious situation. So to a degree, I sort of get his thought process here, but right now, these are his actions. He defended a child groomer. It's not really relevant anymore that there are sometimes really stupid allegations that are serious, but when you look at the evidence, there are nothing burgers that tend to come from the Art CC. I think it's something that should be talked about, but it's a whole other can of worms that isn't appropriate to address in a video where he talks about and addresses the fact that he failed to properly look at the evidence, calling out an actual child abuser.
I, along with everybody who was close to me, expected me to get some backlash, but not this much backlash.
How could you only be thinking about yourself and the fact that you're getting backlash when a child was sexually abused? I don't understand being in that state of mind. I don't care how much backlash that you're getting right now. Like, you're still so fixated on yourself and your own experiences when you made a scary and emotionally damaging situation for the victim who just simply came out about their experiences. That's not to say that what you're experiencing right now isn't valid, it's just you have people that you can talk to, like your girlfriend and your roommate, about what you're going through right now. it's not appropriate to address that on your platform while you're supposed to be addressing how badly you fucked up and the damage that you did. There were people that I saw in your comment section claiming that the word grooming has been thrown around a lot and that people needed to leave Cindy alone. You did do some damage. Even if it wasn't as bad as it could have been, you did do some damage. And you're still fixating on yourself, not the child. We need to make a safer space for the youth so they can develop and thrive and not become traumatized and miserable.
They're not even telling me they told me so because they didn't even expect it to get this bad. But before I get into what's going on and all the allegations against me, I would like to apologize to a few people. I would like to apologize to my girlfriend, my roommate, and my neighbor for not listening to them.
A part of me feels like I'm about to be a little bit nitpicky, but I still feel strongly about this. I don't understand why he's publicly apologizing to his roommate, his girlfriend, and these people that are a part of his personal life. Really, it doesn't matter. He released a video that was damaging towards a situation that was involving child abuse. I don't care that his girlfriend warned him that it might not be a good idea. He shouldn't be addressing his girlfriend in a video that literally doesn't have anything to do with his girlfriend. It just feels kind of like he's pulling at the heartstrings of his viewers. But I could be wrong, I don't know.
You guys know me best, and you were looking out for my best interest. I should have listened to you guys, and now I'm facing the consequences for my actions.
You know who's suffering the most in this situation? Eno. The child that Cindy groomed? Yeah, they're facing negative, horrible, profoundly damaging psychological aftermath for something that they did when they didn't even do anything wrong. Meanwhile, you're sitting here just facing the consequences for your actually really fucked up actions and sitting here whimpering about it. Again, your feelings are valid, but you have to prioritize the bigger issue instead of moping around.
I would like to apologize to my editor Lorenzo for any backlash he might have faced from editing my video. Even you were worried about things going wrong after I released the video, and I'm sorry for making you edit it in the first place. I hope the extra money I gave you can make up for my mistake. I would like to apologize to Eno for how my video affected her. You were so young, and no one should go through that at your age.
And that's it. That's the biggest acknowledgement that he had towards the victim. Not only does he not use their proper pronouns, but he can't even pronounce their name right. Thank you. And the rest of this video will be dedicated towards him talking about himself,
along with anyone who might have been made uncomfortable by things I've said in my video. And I'm also sorry to my fans for disappointing them.
Rather than criticism, this is more so just a suggestion. When you fuck up that badly and spread as harmful of a narrative that he has spread, it's best to just stick to talking about who was personally involved rather than apologizing to the viewers, because the viewers, you don't really owe them anything. All you need to do now is clear up the harmful narrative that you've spread. Your fans are angry on behalf of the people you harmed. Therefore, you should focus on the people that you harmed, not your fans. But again, that is just meant to be a piece of advice rather than actual criticism.
What I did was incredibly stupid, and I understand if you unsubscribed from me. I'm not upset with everybody who has made a video on me, because I can understand where a lot of them are coming from. Granted, there are a few people who have said some crazy things about me.
Like, I knew how this guy was, I warned you how he was, I told you what position you were in, and I was very conscious and scared on your behalf, because of what position you're in. Jar could have raped you, and that's probably what he was trying to, that was probably his dream, his end goal.
Oh my god, Kumo. I don't even want to get into him. Yeah, Jar has a right to bring up this up, and how wrong it was that Kumo said this.
I'm going over a lot more than just the Cine stuff in this video, because just about every bad or questionable thing I have done is out there now. If you're only here for one specific allegation and you don't care to watch this entire video, don't worry, I will be providing timestamps for specific allegations. The biggest problem with my video draft about Cine by far is how soft I went on her. I regret that even more now due to the fact that new information has been released about Cine. I don't like being lied to, especially by people who wanted my help, but I fell for what she told me, being the gullible fool that I am.
This statement here I also find to be incredibly unnecessary. It's not even what he's trying to say, it's just the way he's saying it. I'm just such a gullible fool. God, I hate being lied to, but I took the bait. I mean, yes, that is true. Cine is a liar. She lies to the people who try to help her. I have personal experience with this. But you don't need to make this a pity party.
I didn't believe that Cine is a pedo, and I still don't believe she's a pedo. I don't believe she had a desire to get with the minor or exchange nudes with the minor. I never said what Cine did was okay. I said it was wildly inappropriate and an optics nightmare. Usually I would expect that if someone was grooming, that the groomer would intend to get with them. At least this was my thought process at the time, based off of all the other grooming cases I have seen.
The allegations weren't even that Cine was a pedophile. The allegations were that Cine is a sexual predator and a child groomer, which she by definition is, if you actually look at any of the chat logs that were shown. Yes, there were a handful of irresponsible people who were acting on raw emotional impulse and calling Cine a pedophile, and those people are very uneducated. But when it comes to public circumstances that are being discussed on the internet, there's always going to be people that don't say things that make much sense. Is it annoying? Oh, hell to the yeah. But Is it necessary to address in a video where you're trying to clear up the misinformation you spread? No, you don't need to justify where you were coming from. You need to apologize for the misinformation that you spread on your large fucking platform. I still don't like how you're trying to justify your thought process in this situation where it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because you still made a scary situation for the 14-year-old child who was groomed, and you're still sitting here being like, well, I don't think she's a pedophile. Like, the vast majority doesn't actually believe that. You're just yapping about what the minority of morons that'll inevitably be lurking on the internet to begin with. And not only does it make you seem incredibly self-centered, the fact that you're still trying to justify your behavior when there's a bigger picture other than you here, but when you focus on her not being a pedophile, something that the majority understands, makes you seem completely out of touch with reality and what the actual criticism is.
I didn't believe she did what she did out of malicious intent or to hurt anyone. I really believe that she was just incredibly socially retarded.
I know, I'm just so socially retarded, guys. I sent porn to a 14-year-old. Just the fact that Cindy wasn't uncomfortable talking about sex with a 14-year-old at her age was a red flag. Even if she wasn't sending porn, which she was, but let's say she wasn't, she was just talking about sex. That on its own is creepy. And I'm not necessarily accusing Jar of being a creep when I say this, but I will say I find it rather questionable that Jar at his age could look at a 14-year-old being talked to sexually by a 20-year-old and think that it could just be a case of somebody being super autistic. I'm not saying Jar is just like Cindy whatsoever, because that would be a really unhinged lapse in judgment. I'm just saying I find Jar incredibly questionable, the fact that he was ever able to draw this atrocious conclusion in the first place. That is questionable. You are a questionable weirdo, Jar. And I understand that you're autistic and you can reclaim the slur that you used, but it's best to not use slurs in public videos because you don't know what people's triggers are, and slurs are still objectively derogatory words, and it's best not to use derogatory language in a video where you respond to and address something like as big of a controversy as this. It's just not appropriate. But I do understand that that could just be your autism.
Along with the fact that I really wanted to believe that she wasn't as guilty as everyone was painting her out to be. Along with the fact that she was encouraged to draw suggestive artwork when she was 14. That's why I took pity on her, because I thought what she did was out of stupidity and not malice.
So, 14-year-olds do dumb shit all the time. That's why in situations like the Sashley drama, when Sashley was being irresponsible with the pornography she was creating, people eventually went easier on her after she got a ridiculous amount of criticism. That's why people turned around and realized that they were being absolutely ridiculous when lecturing and bashing a literal child. Which is why you bringing up something she did when she was 14 is kind of low-key stupid. Like, it's brain dead. I don't give a shit that she drew suggestive shit when she was 14. That has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that she was sending porn to a 14-year-old. It's a redundant, wild point to just pull out of your ass. Oh, well, I remember when she was 14 and she drew suggestive stuff. Well, I'm gonna somehow link this all the way to this current situation that has nothing to do with those circumstances. This point is a nothing burger, and it sounds like something that you'd hear straight out of a TikTok call-out post, Jar.
I truly believed that I was onto something comparing this to the Pyro drama, because Pyro did learn of Ivory's age when they turned 16, not when they were 15, and he said, and I quote here, shouldn't have continued the furry stuff with him, along with the fact that Pyro got a 15-year-old who he knew was 15 to draw a thicker, lewder, sexier version of his avatar. I thought to myself, well, if people are okay with Pyro doing this, then why aren't they okay with Cindy's actions? I think we all know that if the Pyro drama started with Pyro immediately uploading a video saying, guys, I admit to it, I groomed a minor, and I knew what I was doing was wrong, that drama would have gone completely differently.
Maybe so. I think that one of the reasons as to why Pyro got away with the abhorrent shit he did is because he was asking for furry inflation art from the child. It's so bizarre that it was hard for a lot of people to take it seriously, which probably contributed to him slithering away from this and not having to take accountability. I guess it's an okay point to bring up that people were way too lenient on Pyro, and if Cindy is being treated this way, Pyro should be treated this way as well. But Jar's bringing up Pyro for the wrong reasons. He's saying, well, shouldn't we forgive Cindy if we forgave Pyro? Like, no. It's more like, why did we forgive Pyro if we didn't forgive Cindy?
And I believe that Cindy was gaslit into doing that by her roommate who goes by it pronouns.
I think Jar was just trying to be witty by bringing up Jack's pronouns just because its pronouns are kind of bizarre, but it's so off topic that it makes me feel like he's not taking the situation as seriously as he should be.
When I saw Kumo coming to the same conclusions about Cindy that I came to, along with witnessing him beating a few people in debates about it, I thought he might have been onto something, so I decided that I should help her as well. I now realize that not all the chat logs were released between Ivory and Pyro in the same way they were for Cindy. Also, I believe Cindy released the full logs herself, but I wasn't aware of that when I was working on my video. At least I don't think I was. On top of that, Cinny is a repeat offender to a very disturbing degree. It would be like Pyro getting accused of everything he did, with the Call Me Carson allegations on top of that, along with a bunch of other things.
The only correlation between Call Me Carson, Pyro Cynical, and Cinny Barrow 3 is the fact that they have YouTube channels
And have dealt with very serious allegations.
You need to look at this situation objectively and stop comparing people and circumstances or bringing them up in the same conversation in the same breath as if they have anything to do with each other when they really fucking don't. And the fact that you keep comparing these circumstances with each other makes me feel like you don't actually see any of these controversies as separate, different events and circumstances. You are eerily obsessed with people's online presence, and you can't seem to look past them. Honestly, it doesn't matter that these people have social media platforms at all. That doesn't mean that they need to be compared with each other at all. You are blinded by YouTube and blinded by people's social media platforms. Absolutely blinded, and it's making it so you can't see past this and look at this objectively. Stop fixating on random different YouTubers. I bet that if you met somebody like in real life who had absolutely nothing to do with social media and didn't have an online presence, who was exactly like Cinny, like to the T, just minus the YouTube channel, you wouldn't think to compare the two even if they were identical to each other, like in personality and actions. The only reason why you're comparing these random other YouTubers to Cinny is because they have YouTube channels. Literally, that's it. The YouTube channels is what's making you compare things together. If Cinny had a doppelganger whose actions were identical, or a twin, you wouldn't be able to compare them or even make the correlation between them being similar people because, ooh, one of them has a YouTube channel and the other doesn't.
My main understanding of morality is that hypocrisy is the most objectable sin.
I take being a hypocrite over a child predator any day.
Hypocrisy is annoying. It's not the most objectable, fundamentally horrific sin.
I also understand that nothing can get you canceled harder than a child grooming allegation that a lot of people believe.
Yeah, gee, I wonder fucking why. I wonder why nobody wants to support a child groomer. No fucking shit when people believe that you've groomed a child that they don't want to support you anymore. At this point, this isn't even cancel culture. It's just accountability culture.
I saw how people flip-flopped on the Pyro drama, so I thought they were about to do the same with this situation.
So instead of actually reading the document, which you admitted that you didn't read, what you decided to do was go based off of like a speculation that people might flip-flop, and that's what made you accumulate an opinion, not the objective facts right in front of you. Good to know. I'm assuming you'd still be defending her to this day if you weren't receiving backlash from defending her. You'd still be defending a child predator if you weren't put in your place, which is kind of a terrifying thought to me.
The first draft of my Cinny video was originally made to bash her. That being said, I still went softer on her than most people did, and I was planning to add more to my video draft as the drama went on. I really should have focused on being more professional and objective with the sensitive information around Cinny. Instead, I took her at her word.
Obviously, somebody as far gone as Cinny is going to lie and not be honest. People like that aren't truthful. You had full access to the document and the evidence that proved the fact that she was guilty, and you turned your nose up at it and chose not to read it. You were not a victim.
And I gave her way more charitability than she deserved. As you can hear at the end of the full call I had with Cinny, I said that I would be making a new draft in defense of Cinny before I talked to Jack. But, yeah, I'm gonna be changing my video a lot, and I'm also gonna have to reach out to Jack because, you know, for all I know, you're gonna...
Uh-oh. Have fun with that, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the video ready because knowing Jack, I'm probably gonna panic and try to control the narrative. Like...
You should have reached out to the people involved way before uploading the video. There's no excuse. You could go on about how, well, Kumo leaked my video before I could finish it, but there still is no excuse for distributing such a harmful narrative.
I thought I was being fair by doing that because I only talked to Cinny after I had a draft ready to upload on her, but now I can see that was an incredibly stupid move.
Yes, but when you say stupid rather than going over how problematic it is, it sounds like you're trivializing it. It was more than stupid. It was harmful. Your recklessness with the production of this video that you were making on Cinny was harmful.
I was planning for Saturday to be a day where I would @ Jack on Twitter, along with a day to look over a whole bunch of videos about Cinny to make sure that my information was correct.
Again, all you needed was to look at the doc. The doc had everything compiled into one place.
Unfortunately, the last draft that I was still in the middle of adding stuff to was leaked by Kumo, and I panicked uploaded what I had. As you can see from this screenshot, which is of my Cinny video, I uploaded it unlisted on October 10th, which was a Tuesday, and the actual Cinny video was planned to go live on Sunday, but then Kumo leaked this version of the video, so I foolishly decided to upload this version because the other one still wasn't finished.
I really don't understand what you're trying to get at or where you're coming from with uploading a poorly rendered draft instead of what you actually have to say about the situation just because somebody decided to leak the draft. That doesn't make any sense to me. If that was just a draft and that wasn't actually everything you had to say, why would you just impulsively upload the draft when you have more to say on the matter? Why upload a half-assed work in progress? After Kumo leaked it, all you had to do was make an announcement saying you didn't agree with it, and that's why you haven't uploaded it yet. Like, that's all you had to say. No, I think that you uploaded it because you fucking agreed with the video.
I don't do YouTube full-time. I have a job. I have Saturdays and Sundays off. That's why I was trying to do extra research on Saturday. He got it through Romantic Goblin, as I was in the middle of asking people to look over it to see if there was any mistakes I needed to correct. I asked people like Misandropony, Akumu, not to be confused with Kumo, and others if they could look over my video.
The others said it was a good video and asked not to be shown. Okay, so the point that you were supposedly trying to make was that you were showing people to get their opinion, not to get reassurance. You're framing this as if you were asking for people's input and feedback in case you missed something, not for them to, like, back you up and enable your already existed preconceived narrative. Meanwhile, you're being like, a bunch of people said it was a good video, but they asked not to be shown. Like, wasn't the point of running it by people to figure out whether or not you've missed something, not to get your ass licked, not to ask people for likes? God!
I was even debating on whether I should have Chud look it over because he knew about the Cine situation. My roommate was also on a business trip and coming home on Saturday. I was planning to look over both docs with him very carefully. I have the worst case of dyslexia in the world, so it's very hard for me to do that myself. Yeah, my dyslexia often leads me to focus more on what I can hear rather than what I can read. Now I want to make this clear. When I have people look over certain drafts of videos I've made, I'm not just going to blindly agree with whatever opinion they have. If they disagree with something in my video, I have a discussion with them about it. That being said, 9 out of 10 times it comes down to just me rewording a certain point. I can't even begin to tell you all the different opinions people gave me on how I should go about making my response to all the allegations.
If what you're saying is to be taken at face value, that would indicate that you are uncertain as to what you should do and what your approach to the situation should be, and you need guidance. If that is true, then you really shouldn't be covering serious situations like this. You had a lot of influence on the commentary community, and if you need people to explain common sense to you, then you are not competent enough to handle these situations. I feel like throwing it out there, I am severely dyslexic, and I can assure you, all you need is a pair of eyes to see the pornography that Cindy was sending to a minor in the Google document to know that she was guilty. And if dyslexia was what was making you put off opening up a Google Doc and looking at the information regarding this entire situation that you are literally making a video about, then clearly psychologists have yet to understand just exactly what dyslexia is. Because this is a much bigger issue than just struggling with reading physical text. But if we were to go with what dyslexia actually is, I'm just going to assume that you're using this as a scapegoat. Nobody cares that you got dyslexia. You defended a child groomer, and you still see yourself as the victim for being called out. You're providing a long-winded explanation for things that never should have happened in the first place, when in reality, you don't need to over-explain yourself, you need to apologize, and you need to actually have a sense of humility.
This is why I was considering having Chud look over the video, because I considered him to be an objective person. Granted, I went back and forth on whether I wanted him to look over it privately or on a live stream. I was also encouraged to have Chud look over my video by people like Romantic Goblin and Cine.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say the same thing on the Chud Logic stream? Something she also watched but was happy with the conclusion of?
Yeah, you said the exact same thing on a stream that you had no issues with.
I agreed to do this, even though I didn't know that much about Chud. I just knew he did a video on me a really long time ago, and out of any video I've ever seen on me, I thought it was the best one ever made.
This is all good and well that he wants external input, but this is completely off topic, and I'm really not interested in hearing him yap about this.
Ironically, he was covering my video on cancel culture.
Never know for what or when you'll be canceled. Maybe you were live streaming and you suddenly screamed out the N-word. Maybe you lied about a drama which caused people to dig into your past about other dramas you don't talk about. Maybe you're completely innocent and the allegations against you are false, but too many people are against you and they won't listen. Or maybe you don't have the evidence to prove your innocence. I know cancellation will come for me one day. It comes for everyone. It's not a question of if it will happen to me, it's when. Will it happen in 2025, 2022, or maybe this year? We won't know for sure until it happens.
Yeah, that video aged like a fine wine. I may not fully understand myself as a person, but I do understand that I say off-the-cuff stuff all the time, and that I'm autistic. Me getting cancelled was never a question of if it would happen, but when.
Jar. From one YouTuber who finds cancel culture insufferable to another, you need to open your eyes and understand the severity of what you've done. You're not getting canceled for screaming the N-word. You're not getting canceled for having a bad take on a franchise. You are being heavily criticized and condemned for platforming a child predator's manipulative narrative. And after being called out, all you can do is think about yourself and yourself only. I don't even consider this canceling. It's just people wanting you to take accountability. If you had made a video in response, like if this video you are making now was actually you going and debunking every problematic, damaging thing that you've said, and not just going on about yourself, that might lead you to some form of redemption. But you're handling this so horribly and are so blinded by your fear of being cancelled by a woke mob that you don't actually see how serious what you've done is. There are right-wing lunatics who are condemning you. That says a lot. Enough with your cancel culture obsession. This isn't cancel culture, this is taking accountability culture. What you've done is so outlandishly damaging that people who literally fucking despise cancel culture, who used to look up to you, have been upset and disappointed by you. This is not about cancel culture. This is about you taking accountability for your horrific choices.
I was never foolish enough to believe that I would be the only autistic man on the internet to never get cancelled.
Would you stop acting like this was like a predictable thing that inevitably would happen? This was so easily avoidable. Just don't defend child predators. Just look at what you're defending. If you had just opened your eyes, you would have seen that she wasn't worth defending.
If my roommate came home on time, he definitely would have told me, hey, this draft sucks and you need to change a lot of things about it. This is why I didn't ask my roommate to help me debate anyone. He loves debating and he's really good at it, but he only had superficial context as to what was going on, so it wouldn't have been right for me to ask him for help. Me asking him to jump into a random stream and help me debate a topic he didn't know that much about would have more than likely made things worse.
I don't give a shit about your roommate!
On top of that, with a little bit of the situation I did explain to him, he told me it was a bad idea to get involved. Yes, I absolutely regret not listening to him.
What the fuck does this have to do with you spreading an extremely harmful narrative that put a victim of grooming in potential danger? You chose to upload that video?
I'm so sorry for it. Some people said I should have flagged or copyright strike down Kumo's video, but I'm gonna be honest here. Once the video is out there, it's kind of out there. And I've seen what happens to other YouTubers when they try to strike down a video.
These are one of those thoughts that should have remained in DMs. You didn't need to share with us that you were considering striking down Kumo's video or re-upload of your video. I don't care. I don't care. You defended a groomer. You defended a predator.
Long story short, it doesn't end well for them. Kumo uploading my video ruined a lot of things for me. It kept me from reaching out to Jack and doing further research on the topic.
Me, with a side of meat. Also a little bit of me sauce. Me.
Even if I didn't upload my unfinished draft, I still would have received a ton of backlash. Just not as much backlash as I'm receiving now. Because of my lack of research on the situation, I did not understand how bad Cindy really was, until I had a call with Templeton. Yes, I understand he's getting cancelled right now.
What in the fuck does this random YouTuber have to do with this?
Which made my drama blow up even more, but he still explained the situation to me and helped me understand where I went wrong. So for that, I have to thank him. Apparently, Cindy told Enno that it wasn't a big deal that she had a rape fetish at 11, and she also got Enno, who was 14 at the time, to read out the, rape comic. And that makes the whole situation way more disturbing than I originally was led to believe. When I was 14, I did an unpaid internship for a ranger station, and one time this guy came by, and we were cleaning up the canyon together, and he showed me a whole bunch of porno magazines he found while cleaning up. He was an adult, I was 14, but I didn't feel disturbed by the situation. However, he did not get me to read out the porno magazines or anything like that. When Templeton explained this to me, that was the moment everything hit me. Oh my god, I can't believe what I have done, and I'm so sorry for it. I should have done better research.
That's all you needed to say. The rest of this was so unnecessary.
Now granted, I am not happy with Templeton leaking our call without asking me for permission first, and I'm also not happy with him saying he was pulling an op on me. However, he still did help me out a lot, so I have to thank him for that.
You are so entitled. I still don't understand how you could be thinking about yourself after everything that you've done.
Just to give you an example of the extra research I could have done on Cindy, this doc was released on the same day Kumo uploaded my video onto his channel. Unlike the other two docs, it's short and straight to the point.
Again, if you were paying attention to what you were actually covering, you would know that Eno's doc was very straight to the point. It was just extremely long because there was so much pornography and sexual abuse going on and sexual exploitation. Chat logs upon chat logs upon chat logs of it all. If you were paying attention, you would know that the reason why it was so long is because it was filled to the rim of just evidence rather than like a testimony and written text, which drives me nuts. If you're gonna send me a Google document, I'd rather there be more screenshots than text. But yeah, it pisses me off that that's how he sees this situation, because if he was actually paying attention, he'd know that it was very straight to the point. It was just solid evidence rather than yapping and testimony. All he did was look at the amount of pages on the Google document that Eno made and then get lazy.
If I saw this, I would have held off on uploading my video to do extra research. But because of what Kumo did, I panicked and uploaded what I had.
No, you're a grown man. No. You don't get to point fingers at other people for your own shitty mistakes. No. The way that you're pointing fingers at Kumo makes the rest of your video seem so disingenuous, and it totally makes it feel like you don't actually understand how at fault you are here. You are by all means responsible for uploading this godforsaken, awful video. No excuses, you grown-ass man.
When I uploaded the Cindy video to my channel, all I could think about was how unprepared I was for this situation. I came across as very arrogant in that video due to past success of going against the mainstream commentary community opinion and coming out on top.
What an awful way to look at the world. I came on top most of the times when I went against the mainstream popular opinion in the commentary community. Therefore, I must be right about this. Therefore, you just slacked and lacked in any valid argument, lacked in any proper research, and then uploaded a horrible, damaging video. Well, I usually come up on top. That doesn't make you look any better. You usually come up on top in these sorts of situations, so you decided to disregard the reality right in front of you and choose not to read it? That makes me feel so much better.
Granted, often when I upload a video on YouTube, I get anxiety. I think to myself, oh no, this is the video that's going to get me cancelled. Hopefully it will go over well. That's why I try to hype myself up, because often when you come across as confident in a video, it makes people more willing to hear you out.
Why are you only thinking about yourself? Better question, why are you fixating on getting people to agree with you? What you should be doing is fixating on getting to the bottom of reality so you can say what's right and deliver the most accurate interpretation of what's going on.
Granted, it's a double-edged sword because it can make you come across as an arrogant douchebag as well. As for the way I interviewed Cinny, I have no excuses for myself. I was completely unprofessional with how I handled that interview. The interview was very cringe and my questions were leading. I was thinking about redoing it, but I thought that would be dishonest. Also, I leaked out the full version of the interview, not Cinny. Lyle Convoy asked me for it, and I sent it to him after thinking things over for a few days. I could have said I didn't have it anymore, but I wanted to be honest.
I could have lied to cover up my tracks, but I wanted to do the bare minimum, so doesn't that give me some brownie points? No, it doesn't.
At the end of the day, I shouldn't have even entertained the idea of making that video in defense of Cinny. It was reckless, it was stupid, and I deserve to be dunked on for it. The only part of the video that aged well is what I said about Jack. From the very beginning, I knew there was something that wasn't adding up about this drama, and it was Jack. They're getting bashed for stuff hard right now, but I know for a fact they're not going to leave the internet. They're way too addicted to it.
If you want to address and talk about the fucked up shit that Jack has done, then yeah, go for it. But why does it have to be in the same video where you address the fact that you defended a child predator? You're going off topic. Also, it pisses me off that you described the decision to entertain making a video defending Cinny as reckless and stupid. No, it was damaging and scummy. Your recollection of this should not be that you were being reckless and dumb. That is a severe understatement that doesn't address any of the actual problems with what you've done. Ugh.
My entire Cinny video wasn't terrible, but enough takes were so bad that I shouldn't have uploaded.
I don't care that some of the takes may or may not have been somewhat okay in your eyes. Enough of them were so fucking disgusting that you don't even have the right to go off about anything that may or may not have been a somewhat socially acceptable thing to say. It doesn't matter. You described the video as dumb and reckless. Are you not aware of the real issues at hand? Now, the rest of this video is essentially just him responding to internet gossip that I don't think is as serious as the Cinny Bear 03 situation. I do want to go over it a little bit just because of how absolutely absurd it is, but I'm going to be cutting most of it out because it's literally like listening to a middle schooler debunk rumors that were spread by other middle schoolers. Like, he unironically defends himself because people accused him of having a fart fetish. Like, I can't make this shit up.
The next big allegation against me is kind of like the first one. I sent this image to someone who was apparently a minor at the time. I sent it because I honestly thought it was funny. Like, I think you guys can see the comedic nature of this image. Here's all my DMs with this person. As you can see, we barely spoke, and they sent me some inappropriate stuff, like a video about Kronk judging the size of your dick.
The criticism wasn't that you had a gas fetish, although that would be pretty fucking funny. The problem people had was that you sent it to a minor.
I acknowledged their age near the end of the chat because I just found out what their age was around this time. However, I did not check their age at the time, so to comedic autism, I am sorry for not double-checking your age before sending you this image.
At one point, while justifying something he said to Cinny, he actually unironically said, "I don't flirt with women like this. This isn't how I pick up chicks."
The only compliment I gave her was calling her Mamacita. Here's the audio clip.
Alright, Mamacita, I'll hit you up when I get home.
As you can clearly see, I was making a race joke, not actually trying to hit on her. When I do hit on women, I don't put on a voice like that.
And then he talks about the size of his penis.
I'm not going to send a picture of my dick over the internet. Plus, I wouldn't want any of you males to feel inadequate.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This video is just a mess. The reason why I'm not planning on covering it all of those is because I don't have any personal involvement in it, and there are a lot of people who do have personal involvement in Jar who debunk the entire video and will do a better job than I ever possibly could because I literally don't have any personal relation with Jar. But if you're interested in the rest of this video being picked apart, I would suggest watching Leo Convoy's stream on it because him and Jar used to actually be friends and he has personal involvement in what was going on. I will link that in the description if you want to see a full coverage of the entirety of this awful video, but at this point, I'm done. I feel like Eno has been treated like shit throughout this situation, and their name has just been fading into obscurity as these awful YouTubers just continue to make this whole situation about them.
The more it happens, the more angry I get, and I just snapped and made a response video. I wasn't initially going to respond to anything that Jar had to say because I thought he was a babbling moron. I didn't think he was worth my time, which, honestly, I still hold that opinion, but I'm angry, so I'm here. Here we are. I hate it here. I think that Jar is a selfish goon who's completely out of touch with reality. That's my conclusion. Thank you for watching.
This'll all just be a dream. Now hush, little baby, don't you cry. Everything's gonna be alright. Stiffen that upper lip up, little lady. I told ya, daddy's here to hold ya through the night. I know mommy's not here right now, and we don't know why. We feel how we feel inside. It may seem a little crazy, pretty baby, but I promise mama's gonna be alright. It's funny.